Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, congratulations to the Honorable Winston Da Costa Jordan, Minister of Finance, for preparing a well-thought-out budget under the theme Transforming the Economy, Empowering People, Building Sustainable Communities for the Good Life. Mr. Speaker, I submit that Budget 2019 will keep us on that pathway of change and transformation which started with Budget 2015. This is our fifth budget in just 41 months. This is a true demonstration of the high level of commitment, financial prudence, and an understanding of what is required at the local, municipal, regional, national, and international levels to take Guyana forward. Our country is on a trajectory of progress and development as never seen before. Yes. We will continue to see changes for the good of Guyana in spite of the troubling economic and social indicators this coalition government inherited. We will scale every hurdle. We will ride every wave and roll with every punch to continue to develop this country for the benefit of every single Guyanese. All Guyanese. The allocations of this budget will enable the implementation of programs and initiatives to empower citizens of this country to contribute to their own development and, by extension, to national development. We are creating opportunities for Guyanese, irrespective of our diversities, to live and prosper in a society characterized by mutual respect, trust, acceptance, and oneness. I vow, Mr. Speaker, that this government will do nothing to propagate a culture of divide and rule. It is our mandate to use the mechanism established within the Department of Social Cohesion, Culture, Youth and Sports to unite the people of Guyana so that we all can prosper. Mr. Speaker, a cohesive society is the foundation for improving quality of life and, by extension, the enjoyment of the good life. This commitment is evident in training programs that the Department of Social Cohesion has pursued since its establishment in 2015. To this end, we have conducted 14 intensive two-day diversity education and inclusion training, where 532 persons across the country benefited. Further to this, sir, as a prerequisite to this training is sensitization, where we would have conducted 30 sessions and over 2,400 persons benefited countrywide. The added responsibilities that have come with the Department of Culture, Youth and Sports under my purview have given us the opportunity to see how effective culture, sports, and young people, and when integrated in social cohesion and the harmony process. Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that one honorable member of the other House describes social cohesion as a mockery. Mr. Speaker, the Oxford Dictionary described mockery as an absurd or worthless version of something that happened. Mr. Speaker, we had a complaint of someone, an athlete, 8-year-old, being prevented from participating in the National School Athletics Championship. Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of this Honorable House, I have a memo from the Secretary of the Guyana Trade Union, the Teachers Trade Union, saying that the Sports Secretariat was approached on the day of the event seeking to have that particular child added to the list because that child is a relative of a certain political party in Parliament. It's unfortunate, but these championships are governed by rules. As a matter of fact, this athlete was not part of that list that was submitted by District 2.
Misleading this house.
Mr. Speaker, just to make it plain, that list is here, all for the house to see. Mr. Speaker, the UNDP did help us for some time in Guyana and support us with a blueprint for the 2017-2021 period to foster social cohesion here in Guyana. The department is seeing a greater willingness to embrace difference at the level of citizenry. We will continue along the pathway to ensure that the people of Guyana in all the regions are given the opportunity to contribute to the development while living in peace and harmony. And I just want to refer to another athlete who is not necessarily from Region 4, he is from Region 1. I refer to champion Ricky Singh, who was brought down to Region 4 in order that he can excel, because that's the policy of this government, of this department, to give him the best opportunity.
Yes. Equal opportunity. Equal opportunity.
Why would we prevent some athlete not to participate if they are qualified to do so? Mr. Speaker, we realize that cohesion and harmony will not be achieved overnight. Guyana is still healing, even though some persons think that 3 years is equivalent to 23 years and that we should have done it already. This is the reason it is regarded as a process. It would not be achieved either if the people of Guyana do not have an appreciation for our differences. It is against this background that the ministry deepened the regional training in diversity education and inclusion workshop, which commenced in October 2016. We have also introduced training in conflict management and the negotiation in the community level. Training offered to the department is also designed to facilitate the development of the cross-country understanding and help participants to learn about changes and challenges that are associated with our diverse nation. These workshops are intended to promote and encourage respect for all cultures by seeking to break down stereotypes and advocate for good relations within and across communities. We have taken this training, Mr. Speaker, to all the regions of Guyana. The most recent was held at the Perico Facade area in collaboration with the Community Development Council just a few weeks ago. Mr. Speaker, last year, the department undertook a regional exchange program targeting 166 Wapchiano and Mukushi young people from 23 South Central communities from August 13th to 20th in Region 9. Young people from Simone, from Yupukari, from Fly Hill, Kwatata, Kaikumbe, Shulinab, Katur, Katoka, Parashara, Shulinab, and Shiriri, for my good friend over there, for all of them to participate. Because of the response to this initiative, this year during the period August 14th to 25th, we repeated this in Region 2. Young people from all 9 of the indigenous communities, including Mainstay Wayaka, from Red Village, Lima Sands, and the coast, were all in attendance. Sir, the aim was to expose Guyana's youthful population to the experiences of living, learning skills for life, and working together, our community projects, and for the good of all. In 2019, Mr. Speaker, this activity is scheduled to be held in Region 8 in the village of K2. This is a part of the reason why this department has been established. It has not been plucked out of the air, and in spite of the fact that external efforts were offered to this country since early in the 2090s, yet it was only in 2015 that it was taken seriously and made into a ministry. Anyone who has not seen it is not looking for it. We will continue to undertake such initiative using our allocations with the support of corporate Guyana. And I am extremely confident that we are on the right path to achieving a cohesive nation. The Department of Social Cohesion, enabled by Culture, Youth and Sports, would take Guyana to the place where we will be seen as a model for peaceful coexistence, strengthen ties and relations at the community and national level, where Guyanese display a willingness to contribute to nation building, irrespective of our differences. 2019 would see the department having a greater role in the schools. We have had collaborative efforts with the Ministry of Education, and the number of teachers were trained over the August period to understand differences in order to operate in a more cohesive, sensitive manner in the classrooms. The Ministry of Social Cohesion wants students to understand the value of being good citizens. The aim is to teach them ways of expressing love, showing respect, and imparting knowledge about our multi-ethnic society and contributions made by our diverse groups. Our overarching objective is to nurture a cadre of children and young people who would have positive attitudes and behaviors to differences. Mr. Speaker, I can boast today that the Department of Social Cohesion has gone to all 10 administrative regions of Guyana. Our work is not only on the coastland. We have interfaced with the indigenous peoples at Monkey Mountain, at Camarang, at Keto, at Napi, at Parashara, at Kumu, at Quarry villages. We have been working in Moraikobai, in Kabakaburi, in Philippi, from the Kukui River, and from Amakokapai, to name a few. We go where Guyanese are, because it is my philosophy as the Minister of Social Cohesion, Youth and Sports, that geographic locations must not be a deterrent to cohesion and integration.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Mr. Speaker, government's commitment to enhancing the lives of Guyanese through sports is clear and distinct within the sports sector. The aim is to promote and develop competitive and recreational sports across all regions of Guyana. In 2018, the sports movement, partner sectors, institutions, communities, corporate Guyana, athletes, coaches, trainers, administrators, and spectators benefit from planned projects and programs which positively contributed to citizens coastland and in the hinterland. Of note is the progress made in the multi-year phase synthetic track project, a capital project geared to enhance athletic competitiveness in the track and field discipline. The project is in a three-phase with groundwork for the 2 new synthetic surfaces tendered, contracted, and activated in Region 6 and 10. Areas in Guyana that have and will continue to experience significant benefit from this investment. Herein, Mr. Speaker, we must note the transformative impact on citizens whose anticipation and readiness to respond to employment opportunities is empowering. Upgrades in community aesthetics, business, and entrepreneurial possibilities confirm that sports and sports development is a catalyst for income generation, personally and professionally, and at the national level. Mr. Speaker, 11 million was spent on upgrades to existing facilities, also completed in 2018, with 2 new hard courts outfitted with lights added to the National Gymnasium for futsal and basketball. Additional amenities such as paving and handbars are added to accommodate persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, in 2018, 9 million was spent on several grounds across Guyana, which were outfitted with floodlights to facilitate longer time play. Such areas, Mr. Speaker, as the Matakai sub-region in Region 1, as at Warramadong in Region 7, at Aranaputa Valley in Region 9, Liverpool in Region 6, Paradise and Cotton Tree in Region 5, Betterfuwakt, North Rheinveld and South Sophia in Region 4, Denham still in Region 3. Yes. Yet, Mr. Speaker, one member of the opposition described these grounds of having long grasses infested with snakes. In providing safe space for citizens to execute recreational, competitive, and health-related activities aimed at promoting healthy lifestyle, a total of 70 million was spent to enhance grounds across Guyana. Ground enhancement will continue within the sports development scheme, including the establishment of a national standard for sports ground that will facilitate the promotion of structured sports program to aid and complement the work being done under the ground enhancement program. Mr. Speaker, I wish to confirm to the National Assembly that administratively and organizationally, the government has honored its pledge and commitment to the people of Guyana on the matter of sports policy. The release of the National Sports Policy in draft honors the administration's principal position on good governance, inviting citizens to contribute to dialogue, projections, and outcome of sports in Guyana, including people from the diaspora, serving as an information source, guidance tool, and rallying point for discussion with and among stakeholders, National Association, athletes, communities, academic institutions. The policy provides the basis for a structural pathway towards incentives, press coverage, international exposure, and sports tourism. Only yesterday we remember a member of the opposition calling for sports tourism. They only had to wait to hear about it, as well as issue of clean sports and anti-doping education. Guyana, Mr. Speaker, remains World Anti-Doping Agency compliant. Fundamentally, Mr. Speaker, the National Sports Policy is an implementation priority for the sector in 2019, programmatically consisting of outreaches, sensationalization sessions, seminars, workshops, and wider circulation of documents, including brochures, flyers, and posters. National sports policy consultation and sensitization initiatives will continue towards further growth and development of the sports sector. Thus far, there are tangible and intangible transformative impacts in communities and institutions. Noteworthy is the incentives in 2018 in the anti-sexual harassment outreach conducted, raising awareness against the perpetration of this behavior in and out of sports. Mr. Speaker, sports of myriad forms are active in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. In 2018 was filled with tournaments in athletics, basketball, boxing, cycling, football, martial arts, rugby, table tennis, swimming. Archery emerged on the national sporting landscape and included in its roster of activities. The first level 1 archery coaching course to be held was held in Guyana, where 21 participants from Region 1, 4, 7, 8, and 9 received international certification. Across the nation, our athletes stepped it up to represent their teams, and through this, Guyana re-emerged as a sports-forward country. Workshops and specialized training programs for teachers and community sports persons are frequently executed so as to bring the best practices to persons working in various disciplines. Of significance, Mr. Speaker, is the attention being paid to our people with disabilities. This swim meet conducted at Colgrain Pool saw a total of 84 athletes competing. Additionally, the inaugural Special School Games brought together 635 students and teachers from across the country to participate in 3 days of competitive indoor and outdoor activities, namely athletes, dominoes for the blind, cricket, futsal, swimming, and table tennis. Capacity building within the department has been significant as well, with the employ of a sports psychologist and a sports psychotherapist, as well as certified football and boxing coaches assigned to regions 1, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to boost the range of service available to sports-inclined citizens. As a staff development initiative, additional training will be facilitated to equip coach and sports organizers with contemporary methods to operate proficiently within their practice. The nation's vibrant sport culture was most exceptionally exemplified with a showpiece of global sports, where Guyana, hosting of the International Cricket Council World Women's Competition T20 standalone cricket tournament, while thrilling, indicative of a patriotic, hospitable, and prosperous people. Organizationally, the government facilitated a process which allows the sports movement, athletes, and national and global spectator audience the opportunity to partake of and participate in something truly historic for sports in Guyana, addressing gender parity, the women's role in sports, and facility upgrades. The memories generated during the associated school visits by the participating team will remain with the students, teachers, and visiting cricketers throughout their lives. In 2019, Mr. Speaker, sports in Guyana will see an emphasis on improved maintenance services and security at all national sports facilities, concentrated programs and initiatives in schools and communities, and the provision of logistical and administrative support to sports associations, federations, individuals, and teams. Mr. Speaker, I must refer to this particular area where, from a member of the opposition, the sports institution were described as being in the state of white elephants by this administration. Mr. Speaker, I want to address the white elephants that the individual referred to. The National Stadium, for instance, Mr. Speaker, the member spoke of that being a world-class facility, and today it has become a white elephant. That facility, Mr. Speaker, could never have hosted the World Cup that we just had, T20, because it was unfit. So we had to fit it with a replay screen before that could have happened. Yet it was described as a world-class facility. Mr. Speaker, while the member wants to boast about the facilities, world-class, I would like to inform him that the facilities fell short of world-class standard. It was this government that started to equip these facilities to bring them to international standard, to bring them to the so-called world-class that they were referred to. The Providence Stadium, has just installed its electronic replay screen needed to host the ICC World Cup team. The stadium in a few weeks will be fully Wi-Fi. Speaker from the grass mount to the suite to all the stands will be fully Wi-Fi. Now the stadium is world class and can now host ICC events and compete for any such event to be hosted. It could not have done that before. Mr. Speaker, we refer to the National Aquatic Center. That really and truly, Mr. Speaker, is referred to as the National Aquatic Center because it is all cracked up. The bottom of the pool is cracked. The building itself is cracked from the bad work and poor construction. The main building, Mr. Speaker, has shifted 17 inches, which requires constant maintenance to the plumbing and replacement of tiles, replacement of fitting, constant replacement of pipes. But despite all of this, it is this government that has now brought this facility to an international standard with the installation of electronic touchpad and electronic display board, which means any FINA, as the International Federation recognized by the International Olympic Committee for administrating international competition in water sport, regional events can now be hosted here in Guyana. The National Synthetic Track. Mr. Speaker, how could you describe this as a world-class opportunity? I just want to use this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to show what was used as the synthetic material to what is supposed to be used in what we would refer to as a first class, like we would be building now. This, Mr. Speaker, this has only been 2 years used so far by the school. Mr. Speaker, we have over 60 million on the construction of the third stand to bring the synthetic to an international standard. The pool septic system had to be upgraded by this government, Mr. Speaker. When members spoke of White Elephant, one has to wonder which facility is the member speaking about. Certainly he can't be speaking of the Leonora Track and Field Center, which has just hosted for the second consecutive year the National School Track and Field Meet, which saw over 1,500 students from 15 school districts participated with over 4,000 fans on a daily basis. This, Mr. Speaker, is what this administration has in a world-class state. On the 3 consecutive years of the Ariane Pompey International Invitation, and I say this, Mr. Speaker, I say this because not so long ago, one of the members of the opposition asked for sports tourism. And I just want to mention some of the countries that participated in that Allianz Pompey International. We had, for instance, Cuba, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, U.S. Virgin Islands, USA, Nigeria, Liberia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Suriname, Barbados, Canada, St. Vincent, Bahamas.
Honorable Minister, please reclaim your seat. Honorable members, I'm not quite sure if there's an objective behind members shouting across the hall. Would the Honorable Member, Mr. Need Kumar, stand up? You are disrupting the proceedings of this House. If you continue in that way, then you could not be allowed to remain there. You will decide. Have a seat.
Mr. Speaker, both
sides. Please recover your seat.
Both sides, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I continue with the countries that visited Guyana. We had Canada, St. Vincent, Bahamas, St. Kitts, Ireland, Antigua, Haiti, and Bermuda. But it's not only the countries that came, Mr. Speaker. At those meet, we saw world and Olympic champion Kim Collins of St. Kitts and Nevis, Jonelle Smith of Jamaica, and our very own Troy Doris, Winston George, Candover Price, Patricia Hooper, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, the football field at Leonora is now FIFA, CONCACAF, and CFU certified, which means it can now host any regional or international tournament. We have seen this year alone the games hosted there, the CFU Women's Under 17 and Lady Jaguars Senior. The Leonora Center hosted for the first time in Guyana history the South American Under 20 Championship Track and Field, where 19 countries came here and
Remember, you have
participated
5 minutes remaining.
in 2020, Mr. Speaker. The Under 23 South American Championship will be hosted here in this year. Mr. Speaker, the member did say in no uncertain terms that this administration destroyed the Inter-Guyana Games. And I take this opportunity to close, Mr. Speaker, because I did my research on the Inter-Guyana Games. Mr. Speaker, gone are those days under the PPC government when the IGG was a cash cow for the former director of sports, in which our athletes never received their full stipend and were accommodated at Stardust, a famous short-time hotel in the Army base, while the director of sports and his daughter stayed at a five-star hotel. Mr. Speaker, gone are the days when athletes were only given $10 per day and not the full amount as was budgeted for in ICCG. Mr. Speaker, gone are those days like the year our athletes had to protest and refuse to stay at the Army base. Mr. Speaker, gone are those days when the National Sports Commission bus was used to transport vehicle spare parts for the former director, his family, and his friends. Mr. Speaker, gone are those days when our cycling team had to pool their monies together to stay in a hotel, and if they couldn't find the funds, they had to sleep on benches, desks, or floor. Mr. Speaker, in 2016, Guyana hosted the Inter-Guyana Games, and for the first time, our athletes were all in camp before and during all of the games at a hotel in the city. The Surinamese athletes were accommodated.
Remember, you have 2 minutes remaining.
At the Princess Ramada Hotel, so much so that the Surinamese official commended Guyana and stated, and I quote, "Guyana has lifted the bar of these games." And Suriname reciprocated in 2017 when the games were hosted in Suriname and all the Guyanese athletes and officials were accommodated at the Suriname Marriott Hotel. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.